Hi everyone, Bhuva here. I'm a veteran board director and senior executive with an extensive track record in guiding ethical digital transformation, fundraising risk management, and technical product expansion for startup CEOs. Within the climate, fintech, and artificial intelligence sectors, I have served and I continue to serve as a strategic mentor for more than 200 startups and still counting. I help female founders with sustainable innovation roadmaps in compliance with ESG, that is, environmental, social, and governance regulations, both globally and in the US market. My unique corporate, nonprofit, and startup leadership experience brings a differentiated and inclusive approach to fundraising with an impact priority for the planet and people while balancing profits. With more than 26 years of diverse industry expertise, I take seed stage startups through the next phase of growth fundraising. Till date, the startups I support as a fractional advisor are raising capital in the range of $2 million through $10 million. The current urgency surrounding the global climate crisis, including within the United States, is driven by a combination of escalating environmental challenges, scientific evidence, and the narrowing window of opportunity to mitigate the most severe impacts of climate change. Not only do they pose immediate and long-term risks to public health, but there is an urgent need to find innovative solutions for social justice, economic equity, and biodiversity survival, including vast forest ecosystems and coral reefs in the US. So, what are climate tech startups? Climate tech startups are at the forefront of developing and deploying innovative technology solutions. They mitigate climate change, they adapt to its impacts, and also drive transition towards a low carbon, sustainable economy while challenging traditional industries. Some examples include Cruise, which is a company that develops fully electric driverless cars with zero emissions but prioritizes people's safety, inclusivity, and environmental sustainability. Impossible Foods is a startup that believes in small actions in the food industry leading to bigger reductions in greenhouse gas emissions. It produces plant-based meat, dairy, and fish without animal products. Aurora is another climate tech business that's moving us beyond the era of clunky grids and switching us into the future of solar with a cloud-based software that personalizes the entire solar customer experience and also delivers clean energy close to home. Startups inherently exhibit agility for several reasons. For example, they are quick to adapt and innovate. They are able to respond rapidly to evolving landscape of climate change, technology, and market demands. Lean business models and iterating close to the customers drives faster decision making in terms of competitive strategy and product development compared to big corporations. Now let's take a brief look at the importance of fundraising for climate tech startups, including what are the challenges, but what are the opportunities? What are the non-traditional pathways to finding potential impact investors, and how you can craft a compelling pitch for fundraising. So why is it critical to fundraise for climate tech startups? When it comes to fundraising for climate tech startups, most of us are aware as to how women and underrepresented communities of color face tremendous challenges in gaining access to the limited capital available because there are higher capex requirements. The climate tech sector is subject to fluctuations in market demand, significant regulatory changes, and it's also influenced by political shifts and global agreements on climate action. In highly regulated industries like renewable energy or carbon capture, obtaining permits and licenses to operate can be complex, and it requires more financial and legal resources. Infrastructure heavy projects may pose scaling and manufacturing challenges through production and deployment, and it may deter investors because there are long payback periods. Adequate funding is critical for climate tech startups due to higher initial costs and longer development timelines. Significant investment is required in the early stages of R&D so that you can maximize innovation, conduct testing, and refine products before going to market. Again, top talent is crucial for innovation and scaling, and it's difficult to hire skilled experts without sufficient funding. And we need to offer competitive salaries, good working conditions, and health benefits. Entering the market and convincing customers to adopt new technologies requires a superior product, and combined with effective marketing campaigns, it's required to raise awareness about your brand. Adequate funding allows startups to engage with better matched customers, investors, and strategic partners so that you can establish in the US. Now let's look into how we can identify and find potential investors. Finding the investors for climate tech startups in the United States involves a strategic approach that leverages both the startup's unique value proposition and the growing interest in sustainable investments. Firstly, you need to identify the right type of investors, and you should do a lot of research and networking in the region and the sector that you are focused in. VC firms, impact investors, government grants, and corporate incentives, angel investors, and crowdfunding, they're all possible options. Definitely make sure to utilize industry networks and events. They're a good place to start, and more importantly, if you have connections with your university's alumni association, start there. For example, in New York, I'm part of the Columbia University ecosystem, New York University, as well as Cornell Tech. Conferences and accelerators are another great start. For example, in New York, the FinTech week that happens in April, Venture Summit and Climate Week that happen in September, and Wallach Max Emerald Summit and Bold World Awards celebration that brings together impact investors and female founders every year in October, and this year with an in-person conference in New York City. They're all helpful. Look for accelerator programs that do not take equity but provide demo day and pitching opportunities in front of the right climate conscious investors. For example, Founder Institute helps early stage startups. Leverage online platforms like Crunchbase, AngelList, and PitchBook for targeted outreach so that you can find strategic collaborations and partnerships. Make sure they are complementing and propelling your own startup. Let's look at how to craft a compelling pitch in 2024. Crafting a compelling pitch for a climate tech startups involves clearly articulating the problem, your solution, the market opportunity, and your competitive advantage, especially within the context of the US market. Always start with a strong opening. Do you have a personal story or a striking fact about the climate crisis that illustrates the urgency of their solution so that it can hit the market as soon as possible? Next, define the problem and clearly articulate with statistics and numbers on how big the problem is across borders, but be concise. Introduce your solution with unique aspects of the technology involved, how it works, why it's effective, what is the direct impact to people and the planet, and what's your competitive edge. Focus on what your target market size is, what is the growth potential, and how your startup aligns with current market trends, and do you have a roadmap to capture the market. Business model is key to give confidence to investors on how you will generate revenue. What's your pricing strategy? What are the sales channels? How many letters of intent do you have from potential partners and future clients? Make sure to highlight any initial traction in terms of customers and pilot programs thus far. Acknowledge your competition, but differentiate your solution in terms of profits and scalability. Introduce your team, emphasizing key expertise and combined experiences that are uniquely matched to solve the climate crisis. Don't forget to introduce your board advisors. They add credibility to your venture and they are great to highlight long-term growth. Financial projections and funding needs should be close to realistic estimates. You should include expected revenue, profit margins, and key financial milestones that match with your product roadmap. Clearly state how much funding you are seeking, how it will be used, and what it will achieve in terms of growth, product development, or market expansion. One thing most climate tech investors miss out are the impact metrics. Investors are equally interested in the environmental impact as well as financial returns. Include metrics such as carbon dioxide emissions reduced, energy saved, or acres of land preserved, so that you can quantify the potential impact of your solution in numbers. Let's now look into the funding strategies and tactics in 2024. Crowdfunding is one option that has emerged as a popular funding route for climate tech startups in the US. It offers an alternative or complement to traditional funding sources like venture capital or angel investment. Crowdfunding democratizes access to capital and provides market validation and customer engagement very early in the startup life. It's non-dilutive funding and kickstarts brand building. Feel free to explore platforms like Kickstarter or Republic. Crowdfunding can also pose scalability challenges with intellectual property risks. Angel investments, on the other hand, play a pivotal role in the early stages of climate tech startups. They offer both financial support and valuable expertise. Angel investors provide more than money. They become your board of advisors and bring a wealth of industry experience, managerial advice, valuable networks to the table. Angels offer mentorship and connections that can accelerate a startup's growth. Angel investments are highly dependent on the quality of the founder relationships and may have limited funds for large-scale R&D. This is where venture capital can be a significant source of funding for growth stages in a startup. VCs are able to scale operations, accelerate market expansion, and also invest in R&D more aggressively. VCs, like angels, also come with vast networks and industry mentorship. But equity dilution is higher with VC funding, and there's always a pressure for rapid growth profits. I hope this video helps you learn the fundamentals of raising funds for your startup in 2024. If you're an aspiring entrepreneur, startup founder, or you're interested in the latest trends and developments in the tech and business world, this YouTube channel is the perfect place for you to get your expert advice, industry analysis, and discussions on topics that are innovative and inclusive. For example, entrepreneurship, climate, FinTech, artificial intelligence, social impact, and so on. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and visit my website to get access to more resources.